why I think Dave Ramsey is wrong as it relates to the life insurance that we talk about, but why he's right that life insurance is a horrible investment as it relates to what most people think about when they think about putting their money into life insurance. This is Better Wealth with Caleb Williams. I'm often asked what my opinion is of Dave Ramsey, and in this next clip, I give the full breakdown. I'm pretty nice on him. I say I agree a lot with his heart. I agree with a lot of his message, but I also talk about where I disagree. And in summary, I think Dave Ramsey's incredible for most of America. Majority of people that are probably not listening to this podcast, but majority of people should probably listen to Dave Ramsey, spend less than what they make, and cut up their credit cards. But if you're trying to take Dave Ramsey's principles and create wealth, I think there's some roadblocks, and in this next clip, I explain some of them, and I also explain why I think Dave Ramsey is wrong as it relates to the life insurance that we talk about, but why he's right that life insurance is a horrible investment as it relates to what most people think about when they think about putting their money into life insurance. If you want more content on Dave Ramsey, wealth, living intentionally, being more efficient, make sure to subscribe below and enjoy this next clip.
When people reach out, when people are desiring to know financially, there is an education platform out there. Dave Ramsey has a really big platform.
Yep.
But a lot of people, we do hear a lot of people say, but Dave Ramsey said that it was bad.
Yeah.
Why should I go against what Dave Ramsey says about life insurance?
Okay, so I'm going to try to speak as clearly as I can. I first of all want to say I have a ton of respect for Dave Ramsey. As a person that's very much in the faith-based community, he truly has a heart for people that are broken financially and help them get grasp and like help them. And he's an incredible communicator. And yes, is he intense? Yes. Am I intense? Yes. And he has a heart for people. And I'm not gonna doubt that at all. I don't actually think there's an agenda behind. I don't think he's misleading anyone purposefully. I just think the big philosophy here is he's helping broke people be less broke. If you actually look at the majority of population, they do need to cut up their credit card because they're spending money like it's going out of style. They're like our government, which, by the way, probably the debt has increased over $100 million while we've been talking. So they spend money out of control. And so when you say something like a credit card is bad, okay, no, it's not. Can you be playing with fire? Yes. If you have a credit card balances, that high interest could weigh out work against you versus what you could be doing on the flip side. And so big picture, you just have to look at his audience. And what bothers me are people that do have discipline, that do have money, they're trying to build wealth off of his principles. Because again, it's very much like, yeah, living within your means is a good universal principle. You have to be careful about the mindset. It's like going back to what Robert Kiyosaki says, should you say that I can't afford it? Well, you'll actually believe that and that you're going to be living in scarcity versus an abundant person like myself will say, how can I afford that? You know me, I'm extremely cheap. I do not like spending money, but I don't have a cheap mindset. I'm always trying to think abundantly and thinking about what can we afford and dreaming and all that kind of stuff. So that's a difference. Dave Ramsey's approach to life insurance, I think, is really overall is really good because most life insurance is garbage. And most people are not better off for having worked with someone that does a permanent life insurance, whole life, IUL, they're not better off. And so when Dave Ramsey says, don't invest your money in life insurance, by the way, that's correct because you can't invest in life insurance. And most of the time, it's not set up well. It's with someone that's going to be out of the industry who's not going to serve you. And quite frankly, it's not designed well and is really a terrible place to put your money. So yes, is it frustrating to be having the company that we do and then be put into a whole big category? Yes. Does Dave Ramsey have really good points when he makes blanket statements? Yes. But you also have to ask the question, who is his audience? And he has to stay consistent because I hate to say it, if he talks about different scenarios, I mean, overall, there's a reason, oh man, I'm getting political already. It's like Trump speaks at a fourth grader level, sometimes probably a third grader level, and that's effective. whether you like the president or not, he speaks where people can understand. And if Dave Ramsey goes into an advanced course and speaks, it's just going to muddy the water. And so he owns his niche, and he's so good at communicating that people that shouldn't be listening to him are listening to him. And because he's very much in the faith-based community, a lot of Christians are listening to him regardless of where they're at. And that's where we just find a lot of bad advice. For instance, paying off your house, putting your money in mutual funds, like, okay, that's a strategy, but I could mathematically prove to you that pouring all your money and paying off your house, and then what you're saying that your mutual funds will get 12%. You're also saying pay off your house. Like, if you listen to Dave Ramsey's strategy, you're going to be missing out on millions and millions of dollars using his numbers. So that's where it's like, okay, does he actually believe that? No, but he wants to be consistent. And so his whole idea is debt's bad, which debt is an instrument, debt is a strategy. It can be bad. It can be extremely good. And so he just makes blanket statements. And then the other thing is, how did Dave Ramsey make his money? How did he become wealthy to begin with? You think it was from mutual funds? No, I really do believe that he has a lot of money in mutual funds, but he's probably made his money doing something else, i.e. business, i.e. why do you think I'm doing a podcast? Like, I'm modeling a lot of what he's doing because he's really good at it. So I have a ton of respect, love what he's doing. I think more people across the board are better off because of him. And I think there's a lot of people that are not wealthy because they're trying to listen to his advice. That's what I got for now. I'm going to do a video, like I'm going to do a featured video where I go through the baby steps, where it's better, well produced. And again, if you know me personally, I do have a ton of respect for people and want people to win. And I followed him when I was young, and he was one of the people that inspired me to get really fired up about money.
That's awesome. That's great. And I know that your desire one day is to have him on the show.
Dave, if you're watching, you have an open invite to come on the show, and I would love to have a conversation. It would be a true honor, actually. Thank you so much for listening to the BetterWealth podcast. It would mean the world to me if you could hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this with the people that you know and love.